Yo, what's going on, guys? This is Mike Reed here, and welcome back to another tour review by yours truly. And once again, of course, the setup is a bit different this time, just like it was last time, because surprise, surprise, I got yet another Lego car for you guys. And this one, of course, is one of many that I got for the holidays this past year. Even though it hasn't even been a year yet, or at least by the time you guys have seen this, it's not even too long after 2023. But anyhow, today we are taking a look at yet another Ferrari, and this one I'm basically dubbing the billboard on wheels. And this one is the Ferrari 488 GTE AF Corse number 51. So this is, at least these days, considered the budget alternative to the massive Daytona SP3 we looked at not too long ago. And this one is pretty darn sweet, if I do say so myself. It's not perfect. I mean, you can see right up front one of my glaring problems with this thing, and that is so many stickers. Good lord, the amount of stickers. But it's understandable why they had to do that, because obviously costs and whatever case may be. But at least the headlights are prints, right? Anyway, I'll talk more about that once I actually get into the set. But taking a look once again at the box, we do have the logo for the name of the car right there, Ferrari 488 GTE AF Corse number 51. I usually call it Corsa, but you know, if I want to sound fancy about it. But anyway, then in the middle we got an awesome, right, a render of the car itself. And man, I love these like 18 plus boxes where it's just this black background and you just get this very nice sleek look at the car with all the beautiful lighting and editing. It's really nice. Then of course you got the Ferrari logo light there, and hello switch. And then of course we have the 18 plus set 42125, and it has 1,677 pieces. So yeah, this is not a small car by any stretch of the imagination. It's not as big as the much larger Daytona SP3, but it's still pretty darn beefy. Especially, again, stickers. But anyhow, so Lego Technic, right? And on the side of the box, we got nothing. On the back of the box, we do have a nice, right, once again, sort of, right, product shot of the car from the back, which I love how the tail lights are very much reminiscent of the Ford GT. I don't know, just thought I'd note that here. And of course, we have the IRL picture of the car, just absolutely just blazing down the track. Then, of course, we have the measurements of the actual set and some stats, which, of course, I'm going to get in, as I always do, I'm going to get more into that as the video goes on. But, of course, we have one last product shot, and that, of course, being the real car next to the, right, Technic version. And on the bottom, you do get a Ferrari logo. If I can actually flip it over. Oh, before I forget, on this side, you get yet another sort of product shot from the side of the 488 GTE. And now on the bottom, as you can see, Ferrari logo, officially licensed. So, yeah, this ain't no knockoff, I'll tell you that. And, what was it? On the top, hold on the top, we got yet another sort of rear shot of the 48 GTE. We got yet another, right, Ferrari badge. And hey, look, that's the real size of the wheels. Anyway, so moving the box out of the way, let's take a look at what we get with the set. So here it is. This is the 488 GTE, and my goodness, is this like one of my favorite race cars I've ever built? Like, just straight up, I love this thing. Not just because I got the Ferrari Daytona SP3 or anything, but just on its own, this thing is absolutely sweet. It's not too big, it's not too small. As you'll see in comparisons later, this thing's roughly in the middle between the Peugeot 9X8 and the Ford GT we looked at earlier this year. Or past year, rather, by the time you guys see this. But really, really just impressed with just the sheer beauty of this thing. The hot red, the yellow, the white, the black, even a little bit of gray peeking through the hubcaps is just absolutely gorgeous. And you can tell that I just had to have this one. If not, of course, the much larger Daytona SP3, which evidently, as you can tell, I have both of them now, which is great. And I will be comparing both of them later in this video. But for now, back to the car itself. Let's go ahead and start with the front of this thing, as we always do. And my goodness, the front of this thing is just beautiful. I mean, look at the delicate curves, the sloping of the front splitter, and of course those big, massive headlights, which actually use the LEGO Speed Champions windscreen piece for the headlights. And I think that that's awesome. And this should come as no surprise, but this printing, exclusive to the set. As well as every label, every sticker, every decal that you'll see on this thing, exclusive. So exclusive, 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 just exclusive everything. So where do I even start with this? First and foremost, you have the Ferrari logo right on the front, which of course is going to be hard to see, but it does say Ferrari down there. You do have the SMP Racing. I almost said SCP. SMP Racing on the front angled bits here. You got Hublot right there. I have no idea what company that is, but I'm sure somebody will be quick to correct me. You got this very nice sort of like rainbow colored, well, actually it's Italian colors, with of course red, white, and the green. I don't know why the blue's there though, but I mean, I guess it's a nice accent color. They have 51 FIA World Endurance Championship Pro, and hey, our good friends at UPS. And of course, we have some more safety warnings, rare case E, N, and whatever that wavy part's supposed to be. But I'm sure somebody will tell me in the comments. But still, really, really cool. Now, sadly, there is no opening hood, but then again, it's all a bunch of just skeletal / structural supports. So, and who wants to look at that? Now moving on to the side of the car, and yet again, more freaking advertisements. Like I said, you wonder why I call this thing the billboard on wheels, because you got Shell, 51, Alder, SMP Racing, Pro, hey, Ferrari logo, Pelzer Group, UPS, Hublot, Ansys, Nor Mechanica Company, or Group, sorry, Sabelt and Motegi Racing. Good Lord, that is a lot of ads. And to get into the car, of course, this is sadly a one-seater. The other seat is just completely empty. You just pop the door open like that. Just that simple. And you do get a detailed dashboard, which is going to be hard to see. Let me see if I can get my light in there, so that way you guys can see inside. Ooh, yeah, that helps. So let me zoom in. Ooh, not that far. There we go. So you guys can see the steering wheel in there, which of course has the Ferrari logo and has a bunch of buttons and switches. Then of course up here it has some more sort of technical information, and then right in the middle console you got a bunch of different switches, whatever the case may be. And of course when you turn the steering, if I turn the door a little bit, you will see that the steering is in fact connected to the front wheels. And what's nice is that unlike with the Daytona SP3, because it's relatively lightweight, you don't have to worry about lifting up the whole front to turn it if you want to display it on with the wheels, angled to the left or the right. It's just as easy as just turning it and it just goes. Now, sadly, it does have the same problem as the what was that? I can't remember his name right now. The Porsche 911 RSR, where the steering is a bit iffy, because when you start the turn, it takes a second, like a full second, right, for the wheels and the gears inside to engage. And same goes for the right. And it's kind of floppy floopy, which I don't like. But you know what? I can get over it because, hey, at least the steering works, and it's the least of this car's problems, because trust me, there are other problems with this set, as sad as it is to say. That and the door goes quite wider than I thought it would. I mean, look at that. That's quite a bit of range. Just the door. And then it just closes right up like that. Now, sadly, there is a bit of a stop right here, so that way it stops right at that angle, which I think is smart, but at the same time, I wish it would have went in just a little bit deeper, just for a bit more of an angle, but you know what, I think that's a good place for it to rest. Then, of course, right here, as you can see, if I get my light, you can see a little bit of texturing going on there with the sticker, and you do get a couple little sort of splitters inside of this angled bit of the car. And this is probably one of my favorite bits right here, is if we come to the back, I love how they combine this one sort of angled arch with this normal arch piece. Just the way that they did that is just super nice and adds that extra little bit of oomph to the back of the car. There's that extra little bit of beef. And if we come back here as well, we can see, what a surprise, more advertisements. We got Michelin, SMP Racing, and again, Motegi Racing. So yeah, everybody and their mother sponsoring this thing. And on the top as well, if we get my light, you can see the Alder Peltzer Group as well. So again, everybody and their mother has sponsored this darn thing. And also, I should probably mention here, working suspension. Now, what's interesting is that the suspension on both sides is actually rather equal, because usually the front has tighter suspension, and on this one, it's kind of tighter, but in the back, it is just absolute Jellytown. And I love that, because, I mean, this thing's supposed to be racing around on tracks and whatnot, so obviously, you know, it needs to have the shocks to compensate for any sort of sudden bumps or, you know, potholes or anything like that in the road. So I think that's good that it has nice oomphy suspension. Not to mention, it's just fun to just plop on a desk and just watch it just bounce off. I mean, just, it's going to be hard to see, but just watch. Like, that's nice. That's a good bounce. I like that. You know, it feels, you know, durable. It feels like it can handle itself, you know, hold its own. Even though, of course, the rubber tubes pop right out of place, but it's fine. Anyhow, spinning around right to the back, we can see yet another Ferrari logo, of course, and we get a couple sponsorships. We get afcourse.it on the back, as you can see, and oh god, that's... Ooh, I gotta fix that real quick. These are supposed to be the rear splitters, but see, that's one of my problems with my particular copy, is that these rear splitters just do not want to sit right. But there we go. So now the rear splitters are sitting perfectly straight and level, and of course down here you get, rear diffusers, right? And you get more rear diffusers, and of course you get the twin exhausts, which are quite tiny for a race car, but, you know, I guess it's not going too terribly fast, plus I'm sure, you know, the working V8 engine isn't too hard to, you know, cool off, because as you can see, if we push the car forward and back, you can see the pistons move. And I should have mentioned this as well in my Daytona SP3 video, but the V12 in that car does in fact work. I'm sorry I didn't show that in the video, but I just want to mention that here, because I'm sure someone's going to ask me about that. And yes, the V12 in that one does work. But I do like these sort of like metal, well, on the actual car would be like this metal sort of cage around the engine. It's a small detail, but I really like it. And unlike the Daytona SP3, I can actually see the engine. Thank God, right? And then, surprise, surprise, more advertisements. And surprise, surprise, more ads. In this case, SMP Racing. We got J. Caldeo, A. Piergudi, and D. Sarah. I'm guessing those are three of the most prominent racers that raced in this car, I would guess. But, you know. Anyhow, moving on to the other side, we can see the gas cap right there, which I believe does say... What does that say on there? Oh, I have no idea what that says. It's such tiny text, I'm not going to be able to read that, but I believe that says... Oh, God. I think that says Ju, I'm pretty sure. So, that's interesting. Again, we got the same advertisements as we got on the other side. And again, same advertisements. But, of course, door opens like that. And you can see, yeah, you just got one seat. That's it. The other side is just empty skeleton, basically. Which kind of sucks, but is what it is. So, with that, guys, that's actually going to wrap it up for the actual review of the car itself, because there's not really much else to say about it. Sadly, this is yet another one that, yes, has a couple features, but for the most part, you're buying this for the look, you're buying this for the brand name, and of course, you're buying this for the actual car itself. And my goodness, zoomed out a bit too far. I can say that this thing is absolutely exquisite. I mean, there's very little about this car that I can say is bad, but I probably should get into the cons about this car. And first and foremost, and to some this might be nitpicking, but to me this is a genuine problem, too many stickers! Too many stickers. I mean, I don't mind one or two. I don't mind, right, like 3 or 4, but this is ridiculous. Are you kidding me? Yes, I saved the sticker sheets. Look at all that. Look at all that. Just to put on one car. One car. All this goes on. Oh, and I forgot to mention there's stickers right here on the inside of the right front of the car. And there's stickers right there too. And if this is your first Technic set, you're going to miss a sticker. You're going to miss one. I just know for a fact you're going to. Doesn't matter how many times you flip through the instructions, you're bound to miss one. Now, thankfully for me, I got every single sticker, thank God. But for first-time Technic builders, this is, yeah, I would avoid this set. Or at least, if you're going to get it, just don't bother with the stickers. Just don't bother if you don't want to put them on. Now, for me, I put them on to get the full look, especially for the money I paid for it, because I paid full price for this, of course. But, oh, man. You know, it's just, what a bummer. That and the build is very similar to other cars in this scale, like the Ford GT, right? The Peugeot 9X8. So it has a bit of that samey type of feel. But I think for me, it's good that this thing is safe, yes, but is not too crazy complex. So it's kind of right in the middle, where it has its complications, yes. But at the same time, it's still a nice meaty build that will sure to keep you entertained for a good while until, of course, you get it all built like this. But anyhow, now to put it on the turntable, because, of course, gotta bring this sucker out. And actually, I think we might have to do a quick jump cut, and then we'll go ahead and get into the lore bit of these videos. So, be right back. Alrighty, now that I got this thing on the turntable proper, let's go ahead and read up into the lore, facts, and more about the Ferrari 488 GTE. So the Ferrari 488 GTE is a Grand Tour racing car built by Ferrari's in-house Competizione GT unit for competition and endurance racing. It is a placement for the Ferrari 488 Italia GT racing car, using the Ferrari 488 GTB as a base. The car is built in accordance with the Automobile Club de l'Equestre FIA-LM GTE regulations introduced for the 2016 season, and it currently competes in the FIA World Endurance Championship and the European Le Mans Series. Same series that the previously mentioned Peugeot 9X8 also competed in, so that's pretty cool. The car had its race debut at the 2016 24 Hours of Daytona, hence why the Daytona SP3 is called what it is, with the Scuderia Corse and Risi Competizione teams. So, of course, the category for this car is an LM GTE, constructor is Ferrari Competizione GT. Designer is Flavio Manzoni for the styling. And his predecessor was the Ferrari 458 Italia GT. Now, for technical specifications, the length of the real car is 182 inches, or 4,614 millimeters. 81 inches in width, or 2,050 millimeters. And the height is 43 inches, or 1,090 millimeters. Now, for the axle track, we have 2,045 millimeters, or 81 inches in the front and rear, and with a wheelbase of 107 inches, or 2,710 millimeters. Now, the engine this thing has is a in-house 3,996 cc 4.0 liters, 243.9 cu in 90 V8, turbocharged, in excess of 600 bhp, 4,447 kilowatts? Yeah. 608 PS at 6,000 RPM, 700 Nm, 516 pounds per foot at 5,200 RPM, RMR. So pretty darn fast, or at least by the sounds of it anyway. And for the transmission, we have a Ferrari X-Track 6-speed sequential semi-automatic transmission, which sadly is not included with the set, but hey, yeah, that's not what this set is designed to do. Unlike, of course, the previously, showcased Daytona SP3. But anyhow, the weight is a ACO regulated base weight of 1,245 kilos or 2,745 pounds. So yeah, pretty heavy car despite being fairly lightweight and agile looking in its design. And the fuel is a Shell V-Power 2016 through 2017 total Exelium. Or later it was a total Exelium, 2018 through present. The tires this uses is a Michelin and a Dunlop front 30 by 68-18, and then the rear is 31-71-18. So fairly little bit bigger in the back, but fairly around the same size, give or take. Now in terms of competition history, because of how many racers there were for this thing, for the sake of time, I'm just going to mention, a few of them. Actually, there's actually not that many, so I'll mention all of them. So for the competition history, the notable entrants were, of course, the AF Corse, Risi Competizione in the US, and the AF Corse was in Italy. Scuderia Corso was in the US. And then we have 2 more Italian races with the Iron Lynx and Iron Dames. And then I believe is that Sweden? With Kessel Racing, in Japan with the MR Racing. Oh, I want to say that's France. SMP Racing? Was that Turkey? Clearwater Racing. Oh, I have no idea what this is. I want to say Colombia, but I could be wrong. Pablo Clark Racing. Oh, and this thing was even in the UK. Twice, with Red River Sport and Inception Racing. Then back to the US with Riley Motorsports, and then the Spirit of Race. And I believe that is Sweden. Now, this part I am going to have to cut down a bit because there are too many drivers of this thing, so we're just going to mention a few. So for our first racer in this car, we had the English UK racer Sam Bird. Then next up we had Felipe Fraga. Next, is this Australian? Yeah, that's Australian. Was Shane van Gissenberg. Then we had Alessandro Pierre Guidi. Probably butchered that pronunciation because Italian. Then we have another UK driver with James Collado, and then we got, is that Swedish, with Thomas Flower, and then we had Daniel Serra. I have no idea what that's supposed to be. Then we have Miguel Molina, and then our last one, at least for this video, Francesco Castellassi. But of course, there's a lot more drivers that drove this thing, but that's just a small handful of them. Now, in terms of races this car is competed in, it's competed in 80 races, and it's won 45 of them. Not bad. With a poles count of 24. Now, in terms of teams championships, this thing's been in 2. The 2017 and 2021 FIA WEC championships. And in terms of constructors championships, it's been in 3 of them. From 2016 through 2021 for the FIA WEC championships. Now, more about the car. So, following the launch of the Ferrari 488, a Ferrari spokesperson confirmed that a racing version of the car would be unveiled soon. On 30th of August 2015, spy photographs taken at the ACI Vallelunga circuit showed tests of a highly camouflaged car undergoing testing, with major differences compared to the outgoing 458 Italia GT. The car was launched at the 2015 finale, Mondiale at the Mugello circuit, alongside its GT3 counterpart. At the launch, few details of the car were shared, with the engine carrying over from the 48 GTB being the main announcement. The car can shift between LM GTE and Group GTE specifications, so this thing's a pretty utilitarian race car for sure. Now to talk more about the AF Corsa itself, because that too is also very important to this car's background. So the AF Corse was an Italian auto racing team founded by former racing driver Amato Ferrari in 1995 in Piacenza. Strongly linked to the Maserati and Ferrari brands, AF Corse, or Corsa, currently competes in the FIA World Endurance Championship, GT World Challenge, Europe, European Le Mans Series, Asian Le Mans Series, DTM, and International GT Open, and are four-time champions of the G2 class of the former FIA GT Championship. Oops, skipped a bit too far. Hold on. The team has entered cars under Advanced Engineering, AT Racing, Pacom Racing, Spirit of Race, Formula Racing, 8-Star Motorsports, and MR Racing in association with Michael Waltrip Racing, or AF Waltrip. So, in terms of the, AF Corsa, they were founded in 1995, so they've been around for a while. And of course, their team principal is Amato Ferrari, of course, the maker of the Ferrari brand of automotive vehicles. And for current series, we have FIA World Endurance Championship, GT World Challenge Europe, European Le Mans Series, WeatherTech Sports Car Championship, Asian Le Mans Series, International GT Open, and British GT Championship DTM. So they've competed in a lot of races, or just competitions. Former series, Italian Super Turismo Championship, FIA GT Championship, FIA GT1 World Championship, World Series Formula V8 3.5, a Spirit of Race SMP Racing. Now, in terms of notable drivers, we have James Caldeo, as mentioned on the car itself, or just J. Caldeo, Antonio Fuoco, Antonio Giovinazzi, that's a name, Miguel Molina, Nicholas Nielsen, and Alessandro Pierre Guidi. As, I think Sarah was mentioned there, right? Yeah, Sarah's mentioned there too. Cool. All right, now in terms of team championships, they've competed in the 2006, 2007, 2008, and 2009 FIA GT2, the 2011 ILMC LM GTE Pro, the 2012 to 2017 FIA WEC GTE Pro, and the 2020 GT WC Endurance, and the 2021 DTM. In terms of drivers' championships, they competed in the 2006 through 2008 FIA GT2, the 2011 FIA GT3, the 2013 through 2017 FIA WEC GTE Pro, 2020 GTWC Endurance, and 2021 DTM. In 1995, Amato Ferrari, no relation to the family of Enzo Ferrari and his Ferrari car company, so never mind, it's a different Ferrari, so apparently it's actually Enzo Ferrari, so my mistake, retired from driving and chose to concentrate on team management, initially entering the Italian Super Turismo Championship. Following the series' demise in 1999, Ferrari launched a new team known as AF Corse, in English AF Racing, named for his initials. The team turned to sports car racing, and within a year was contracted by Maserati. AF Corse was Corsa was tasked with the development, maintenance, and transport of the Trofeo Cup, a one-make series based on the Maserati Coupe. The company would continue in its position until 2005. Now, during 2004, Maserati approached AF Corse about running their latest development in sports car racing, the new Maserati MC12 for the International FIA GT Championship. The team aided Maserati in testing and developing the car before running the two new racers in their home event in Imola? We're going with Imola. Drivers Fabrizio Di Simone, Andrea Bertolini, Mika Salo, and Johnny Herbert, or Herbe, but I think it's Herbert, were all assigned to the team, eventually earning AF Corse 2 victories before the season ended. Once the development of the MC12 was satisfied, the company returned to running the Trofeo Cup, as well as running a Maserati Light, in the 2005 Italian GT Championship. AF Corse returned to the FIA GT Championships in 2006. This time, however, they would be running the latest Ferrari offering, the Ferrari F430, as well as competing in the series' lower category, the GT2 class. Sella was retained in the driving lineup, while newcomer Rui Aguas, Jamie Mello, and Matteo Bobby, that's one way to spell Bobby, competed completed the standard lineup. Victory was earned in the team's debut at Silverstone, and another 2 were earned over the season, including at the Spa 24 Hours. AF Corse won the class championship, beating fellow Ferrari competitor Scuderia Ecosse. The company retained their connection to Maserati, however, entering a trio of cars in the new FIA GT3 European Championship. As defending champions, AF Corse remained in the FIA GT Championship in 2007, although much on the team changed. While the Ferrari F430s remained, all new drivers were introduced to the team. Dirk Mueller, Tony Villander, Gianmaria Bruni, and Stephanie Ortelli took over the driving duties for the season, while Motorola announced their full sponsorship of the squad. The 2 cars dominated the 2007 season, winning 9 of the 10 events on the schedule and wrapping up another championship. 2008, AF Corse expanded to a 3-car team in the GT2 class. Villander and Bruni are retained in the lead car, while Biaggi returned to the squad to be joined by Christian Monatari in the second entry. The third car will be run under the Advanced Engineering name, with Argentinian Matthias Russo and Luis Perez Compac. All right. In 2010, the FIA GT Championship was dissolved, and 2 new championships were born from it. The GT1 class of the former series became the FIA GT1 World Championship, while the GT2 class formed the FIA GT2 European Championship. The GT2 series was suspended due to lack of entries. As a result, the AF Corse continued to join the Le Mans series. For the 2010 season, the team fielded 3 Ferrari F430 GT2s for the series' GT2 class. Ferrari's Matthias Russo and Luis Perez Compac campaigned the number 94 Ferrari with Tony Villander and former Grand Prix drivers Gene Alessi and Giancarlo Fischella. Yeah, these are wild names, I know. In the number 95. ALMS regulars with the ALMS regulars with the Risi Competizione team, Jamie Mello and Gianmaria Bruni drove the Ferrari number 96. In 2011, AF Corse entered the Intercontinental Le Mans Cup with new Ferrari 458 Italia GT2s, as well as the FIA GT3 European Championship with Ferrari 458 Italia GT3s. AF Corse won the ILMC in the GTE Pro category, including the final round at Petit Le Mans, and also won the FIA GT3 Drivers' Championship with Francisco Catellasi and Federico Leo. The team also joined the International GT Open for the 2010 season in the GT Superclass, which is largely reminiscent of the GT2 rules in the Le Mans series. The team fields 2 Ferrari GT2 cars for drivers Jack Gerber and Rui Aguas in the number 6 car, and Pierre Caffer and Alvaro Barba in the number 8 Ferrari. And also I forgot to mention number 6 car. I didn't read that right. Excuse me. Continuing on. AF Corse will also field the 3rd Ferrari number 7 for the AT Racing team with drivers Alexander Talcanista and his son Alexander Talcanista Jr. 2012, AF Corse competed in a variety of sports car championships throughout Europe and globally, including the FIA World Endurance Championship and the GT1. And I believe my turntable's actually stopped. So we're going to quickly do a jump cut, and then we'll continue with the reading. So be right back, guys. Alright, guys, so the turntable is out, unfortunately, as the batteries in it actually overheated, and the motor's also just absolutely cooked at the moment. So we're going to have to continue without it. So anyway, where were we? Right. The GT1 World Championship with the Ferrari F458 Italia GT2s and Ferrari 458 Italia GT3s, including a co-branded for GTE AM class car with Michael Waltrip Racing, AF Waltrip. At 24 Hours of Le Mans, amateur driver Pier Giuseppe Perezzini, that's a name, collided with the number 8 Toyota driven by overall contender Anthony Davidson, sending the Toyota airborne at the Mulsanne corner. Perezzini's Ferrari also flipped and landed on its roof after hitting the tire barrier. Oh my god, that sounds terrifying. Davison suffered 2 broken vertebrae in the crash but was able to pull himself from the car in the immediate aftermath of the accident, though, of course, he was forced to abandon the race. Well, yeah, because you broke your spine, dude! Like, and that's not even talking about, like, you know, just the G-forces that are just being put on your body in some of these crashes. Good lord, you know? The AF Course number 51 car, driven by Gian Maria Bruni, Giancarlo Fischella, and Tony Villander, also won the GTE Pro race at beating Corvette, Porsche, and Aston Martin. My goodness, that was a lot. But anyhow, guys, that is going to basically wrap it up for that segment of the video. But before we go, of course, we have to do some comparisons. So one more jump cut, and then we'll get on to some size comparisons. So see you guys in a bit. Alright, so first up to the comparison front, I think probably the most appropriate place to start is with the 2022 Ford GT. And as you guys can see right in the middle, right? It's not too big, not too small, right there in the middle. But yeah, this really, really nice sort of designs between the two of them. But it's just interesting to see how much this, supercar stacks up with this much larger, or not crazy large, race car. And of course, you can see what I'm talking about a little bit. Let me just flip this around to the back real quick. And this one's a bit tricky to flip around. Now you can really see what I'm talking about with both of them basically having the same exact sort of tail light design. Because if I put my light on, you guys can now really see the difference. So that is pretty cool. So doing a quick jump cut again, we'll bring in our next car for comparison. Alright, so I thought it would be most appropriate for our next comparison to be with yet another track star. In this case, of course, the Porsche 911 RSR. As you guys can see, they're roughly about the same size, give or take. But I just find it interesting how both of these track stars are basically the exact same, almost exact same size, except obviously using different wheels and different building techniques, but they're basically the same thing. But it's still nice to have both of these just glorious track stars in my collection. So very, very happy about that. And quick jump cut again for our next comparison. Next up, of course, you knew it was coming, the glorious Peugeot 9X8 Le Mans hybrid hypercar. And my goodness, how awesome is this? Now, of course, the Peugeot is a lot more drab in its colors, but then again, it was kind of, the only real peak of it was green and whatnot. But, I mean, yeah, it's kind of night and day between these two, isn't it? Not to mention the ride height is obviously much higher on the 48 GTE than it is on the Le Mans hybrid hypercar here, which is much more low slung and, evidently more aerodynamic in its structure. But still, very nice to see these two track stars again, just side by side. And now for our last and final jump cut to, of course, the big boy. And last, but certainly not least, here we have it next to the bigger and much more pricey Daytona SP3. And again, it is just so darn awesome to have both of these glorious Ferraris in my collection. And again, I am pleasantly surprised by just how different the sizes are between the two of them. Where, of course, the track star here, the 48 GTE, is, obviously going to be a lot smaller, a lot more, oriented on racing. Well, of course, the massive, right, Daytona SP3 is just an absolute beefcake. But again, I've gushed over this thing enough. But it's just awesome to have both of them in right one shot like this. Alright guys, so that's going to wrap it up for my review on the Ferrari 488 GTE AF Corse number 51, or Corse number 51. If you guys enjoyed today's video, then please make sure to drop a like on this video, subscribe if you're new, and ring that notification bell so that way you guys get notified for all my uploads. Later, Eat Squad, and have a good one.